You look struggling.
I'm sorry.
I'm still on like sensory overload.
Maybe I'd be better off in Berlin, or as an artist muse in London, drifting from hand to hand. Maybe I was born to be a sailor, drop my anchors in Antigua as a traveling fisherman.
Charles, do you take Mary to be your wife? Do you promise to be faithful to her, in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to love her and to honor her all the days of your life?
I do.
Mary, do you take Charles to be your husband? Do you promise to be faithful to him, in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to love him and to honor him all the days of your life?
I do.
You may kiss the bride.
Christmas lights up till January. This is our place, we make the rules. And there's a dazzling haze, a mysterious way about you, dear. Have I known you 20 seconds or 20 years? Can I go where you go? Can we always be this close forever and ever? And take me out.
Mary was 18 years old. Michelle and I went to the cabin for the weekend and left her in charge of the house. We came back from the trip and our home looked neat and tidy, except for that one beer bottle cap in the sink. Where did that come from? After some good cop, bad cop interrogation, in which Mary folded like a cheap suit, we found out that our next door neighbor had to come over and help shut down an out-of-control party. Totally unexpected, but you must admit, sometimes life does resemble an out-of-control party. Then one day, Mary came home from San Diego, and we went on a father-daughter hike. And during the course of the conversation, she told me she was dating Charlie. Charlie? Who's this Charlie guy? And Mary said, oh, and Dad, I love him too. But we got to know Charlie, and he impressed us as being pretty good with strategy and planning. We first met him at a tailgate he planned at San Diego State University Stanford football game. Of course, he had Michelle at football and tailgate. As long as he understood, his life would revolve around Ohio State games. But all kidding aside, after a couple of years, we got to know and love Charlie. One day, he unexpectedly asked if he could meet with Michelle and I alone. He asked for our blessing to get married to our daughter. One more unexpected event. How could we say no? The man had a plan, and the rest is history, as they say. Mary and Charlie, we love you kids. Enjoy the journey. And now a toast to Mary and Charlie. May God grant their days be long and full of happiness. May their children be many and full of health. And may they live in peace and freedom.
My name is Franny. I'm Charlie's sister and Mary's maid of honor. It's been truly an honor to be Mary's maid of honor. I always wanted a sister, and frankly, I just didn't think I would ever get one because I didn't think that Charlie would ever bring someone home that I really felt those bonds of sisterhood with. And then I met Mary, and I learned that she rejected her sorority to build better bonds of sisterhood with me. But more than that, she's not just nice. She's such a loving, caring, generous person. She's not just pretty, she is a jaw-droppingly stunning woman. She's fun, she's funny, she makes family gatherings so much better, and she's really good at teasing Charlie, which in our family is an art form. As your older sister, I feel like I should give you some advice, but Charlie doesn't always listen to me. So I did find someone whose advice he regards very highly, some wisdom from one Charles Santino Ucciferri. Charlie gave me some of the best relationship wisdom I've ever received. So he told me in all good relationships, there's one person who's the string, the stable, grounded, guiding, and yes, sometimes maybe a little boring one. And one person is the kite, the exciting, breezy, ambitious, and yes, occasionally nervous wreck. Here's the second half of Charlie's wisdom. In a good relationship, there's a string and a kite. In a great relationships, you trade off and take turns, and you're there for each other. And that's Charlie and Mary to a T. I knew Charlie before Mary, and let's just say he is the best version of himself now.
Hello everyone, if I have not had the pleasure of meeting you all, my name is Mick, and I am the brother of the groom and best man of this wedding. And I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about my favorite person in the world, my brother Charlie. My whole life, I have looked up to Charlie, most recently looked down at him because not all of us are able to reach 6 foot. What I've always admired about my older brother is that he is the person that I've always wanted to be in life. He is charismatic, he's charming, he's just a good person, and that's always something that I've admired about him. But for those of you who don't know, Charlie and I shared a room growing up, and listen, there's a lot that I could share about that experience that I probably won't say. I'm not going to talk about the fact that Charlie wanted to paint our walls pitch black when we renovated our house. I'm not going to talk about all of Charlie's various haircuts growing up, like the frosted tips that got shaved off because he got sunstroke into a mohawk. I'm not going to talk about any of that. And I'm definitely not going to talk about when Charlie was trying to learn the guitar. Because I swear to God, if any of us had to hear the dun 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 one more time. But what I will say is that sharing a room with your older brother, it's a special experience. It's a weird one. But a special bond is created, and even though I was his annoying little brother most of the time, I saw him as my best friend. There are very few people in the world like Charlie. I'm sure all of you know this. Like I said, he is my favorite person in this world. He's loyal, he's an amazing friend, and he's going to be an amazing partner to my best friend Mary as well. He also picked an amazing person to fall in love with. So now I'm done with you. Mary, our family is better because of you. And I hope that you know that you brought something into our family that we didn't know that we needed. I've been very fortunate to have a built-in best friend in my life. And he's been very fortunate to also have a built-in best friend in life. And it's hard for us to share, But I'm just very fortunate to have both of you as my built-in best friends. Cheers to you. Now let's work on making me an uncle.
together. You can't let them slip away. You can't let them slip away. We got everything together, so unpredictable. But one thing I know for sure, you turn my sixes to